Don't let it take my babies.
Hello guys, it's me explained by RXD. So today I am going to explain one of the biggest horror movie of this year, whose name is Evil Dead Rise, which is the 5th installment in this movie franchise, which is a reimagination of Evil Dead. The rating of this movie is also very high. Although it is fluctuating, but it is going to remain high, because the movie is great. There are going to be a lot of spoilers inside this video. So if you don't want to see it, go see the movie in the theater first. So definitely watch it because the movie is very good. So without any further delay, let's go straight to the video. So the movie starts with a creepy scene showing secluded cottages and forests, which is as usual, where we see 3 friends, Jessica, Caleb and Teresa, having fun in this forest away from town, who were having fun by the lake. But we noticed that Caleb and Teresa were the only ones out here having fun. So where was Jessica? And this happens because Jessica was in poor health. Teresa walks in to meet Jessica, but she doesn't say much. Teresa now starts reading book while having fun with Jessica. But then without looking, Jessica starts reading the book in a demonic tone, which was a shocker for Teresa. Jessica suddenly becomes possessed and starts vomiting, and the color of her eyes changes. It looked like a demonic possession. Now due to possession she uproots Teresa's scalp, and going outside near the lake, she separates the head of the carob. Now we see the possessed Jessica being levitated in the air, and Teresa was watching all this crying. With this, the movie Evil Dead Rise begins. But you would not have understood much yet. Who were these 3? How did the possession happen here? Right. So to understand this thing we have to go back a day from where all this started. Well, now the location is Los Angeles. And we see an old apartment, and a building that's about to be demolished. The building was in a dilapidated condition, could collapse any time. Here we can see a lady tattoo artist Ellie, who lives with her 3 children. Son Danny, its sister Bridget, and youngest sister Cassie. Ellie is living away from her husband for the last 2 months, because they do not have a good relationship. Well, that night, Ellie's sister Beth comes over to the apartment to meet her, where Beth herself was upset. And she's a concert singer, and she left the concert because she was pregnant. And this thing he was not able to digest. In fact, she does not tell this to her sister or anyone else at the moment. Beth is now giving gifts to everyone. And she also brought a gift for Ellie's husband. But then there is a tense atmosphere. And Ellie, to talk to her sister, sent the kids to get pizza for their auntie. Beth is heartbroken when she learns about Ellie and her husband's separation, and tells her sister that she should have informed her about this. But Ellie says she called him twice. Once when she got separated, and second when she came to this apartment, because he didn't have much money. To which Beth feels bad and apologizes to her sister. Well, when all 3 kids are coming with pizza and cold drinks, so suddenly an earthquake occurs on the 5.1 Richter scale, due to which cracks start coming on the car parking area. Upstairs Ellie and Beth were also scared, and downstairs all 3 kids sit down scared. But after a while everything calms down. Now the matter was not so simple here. Danny sees that the earthquake has created a hole inside the parking lot that could be accessed. He was scruffy, so he goes down, where he gets a lot of books and some vinyl records. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. He is found in a photo which has 3 priests inside. At the same time he finds a sealed grave, and there were many holy crosses around, from which it can be clearly inferred that he is containing someone's evil. Basically it was like a vault. But Danny pulls something out of a hole in the grave, and only then the idol of Jesus Christ falls down there. Which means that what was here was very powerful and an evil. That's why it has been kept here in a container. Otherwise it does not make sense to have so many crosses and idols of Jesus Christ. Danny, now as soon as he tries to remove the cloth from that thing, a lot of insects fly over that thing. And it's none other than the famous book from the Evil Dead franchise, which was hidden here. But stupid Danny takes Vinley records and this book with him. And now above all his mother Ellie was getting worried for all this. Along with this news was also coming that earthquake has hit the area around his building. Ellie now asks for help from her neighbor Gabriel to find their children. An elderly Mr. Fonda is also there, who talks to Beth, as she was not there. But then all 3 of Ellie's children come up from the lift, which makes her relax. At the same time, he scolds that the lift should not be used during an earthquake. And then Danny takes the book and the vinyl record inside his room. Meanwhile Ellie goes down the elevator to do laundry. And Beth takes Cassie to the shower. But Danny was haunted by the book and the vinyl record. And he tries to open that book in front of Bridget. But that book was closed by something like a sharp tooth. As if it is not a book, it should be someone's mouth. And then Danny's finger gets cut off by those sharp teeth. And just a few drops of his blood fall on that book, which is shockingly absorbed by the book, and the book just opens. There are strange pictures inside this book. There was an incantation, which was very scary. And somehow Bridget stops Danny from turning the pages of the book. But Danny was about to listen now. He starts listening to the vinyl records one by one, where in the first lesson a father starts telling about this book. This book is one of the 3 books of Natrum Demontu, or one of the 3 parts, which is called Book of the Dead. And he has tried to translate it with his companions, so that he will know the spells and secrets of the old days. Or should it be said about the old civilization? And we see Danny going crazy playing the book and the next vinyl record. Now he plays another vinyl record which had the indentation of the book inside, and father was reading it. But then these records become demonic and Danny tries hard to stop them, but doesn't stop. Nor can he stop or break the record, which is making the demonic entity desperate to come out. And just then a demonic entity takes possession of Ellie's elevator, which was terrible and painful. This demonic entity breaks everything in his hands and feet, and beats him in a very dirty way. Along with this, his floor light also went off. Danny gets shocked to see all this, because the pages of the book were turning themselves. Now Beth and Cassie are scared of the lights going out. At the same time, Bridget notices that the light has gone out only in her place, and not anywhere else. That is, whatever was going to go wrong, it was right here. Now Ellie comes up, who doesn't seem quite right. The same possession has happened with Ellie as happened with Jessica in the opening scene. We saw all his bones broken inside the lift. In fact, it was clearly visible that some invisible power was inside him. Well, Ellie now starts cooking raw eggs in the kitchen by breaking them in a pan. When Beth and the other kids come over to talk to her, she talks weirdly and laughs. And after scaring them all, Ellie comes to her senses a bit. And all she says is that she's inside me and don't let her hurt my kids. Well, after that Ellie vomits profusely, just like Jessica did, and collapses on the same side. Well, now Beth and Danny tried to take Ellie to the hospital, but she's too scared to go in the elevator. And the stairs were also completely broken, which might have been due to earthquake. Or it could be demonic power. Well, Ellie is now laid in the room because they think she's dead. Gabriel now closes Ellie's eyes, but strangely her eyes open on their own. He closes them again, but this time the eyes remain closed. So everyone thinks that she has been killed. Gabriel, Beth, and Mr. Fonda are here now to make a final prayer for Ellie. After which Gabriel and Mr. Fonda start breaking a way out of the building. It would probably be the fire exit, which was lying closed. Now Beth is sitting by the side of her dead sister telling her grief. But just then a call comes, which was from Ellie only, in which she was saying that I am burning alive, save me. And only then the screen of the phone goes to crack. And then suddenly Ellie's eyes open and she sits down. Now Beth touches her, so her body was burning, and just it puts her in the bathtub. But then Ellie climbs on the wall and screams so loudly that Beth and everyone starts to faint. Also the water from the bath tap was boiling. Ellie now starts attacking all the family members one by one. And Ellie turns on the tattoo needle and uses her blood as an ink. And rides on Bridget's right cheek. She was about to kill him, but somehow Danny manages to knock Ellie away. Because he knew that some entity has come here. And then here comes the famous scene of the trailer. And just then, Gabriel and Mr. Fonda come in, who are horrified to see her. But Ellie attacks Gabriel and googs out one of his eyes with her mouth. And throws it inside the mouth of her neighbor who likes Bridget. And taking advantage of the opportunity, Beth closes the gate to the apartment. But Beth and everyone else watch through the hole in the gate. That the entity that possessed Ellie has killed Gabriel and many others. Mr. Fonda shoots Ellie with a gun, but she kills him too. Because it is a supernatural entity, which does not end like this at all. Bridget here starts fighting with her brother that ever since that book came into this house, and she played the vinyl record, it happened since then. And Beth stops them that nothing will happen if they fight with each other. Only then, in a possessed condition, Ellie lures little Cassie in her sweet talk and gets her to open the gate lightly. And tries to choke her, causing Beth to save her. Meanwhile, a strange thing starts happening to Bridget. Her wound has now become strange. Black liquid starts coming out of his mouth, ears and nose. After which she spits out worms and she also becomes possessed. In fact, she became a deadite, which is a famous thing in this franchise. When Beth comes over to see her in the kitchen, she's eating glass. And it was clear from the looks that she was in possession. Ellie scratched her face with her own blood from the tattoo machine, so it was from there. It's like an infection or kind of flag. Well, Bridget skins off Beth's feet with a cheese grater. Which was quite shocking. But somehow Beth escapes and then she attacks Danny and Cassie. But the wooden doll made for Cassie goes through Bridget's head, due to which she falls down, and Cassie's words come true that her doll will save her. Cassie, Beth, and Danny were shocked what all this happened to them, and it seemed to him a nightmare. But for safety, Bunny ties Bridget to a bed. Danny now tells Beth about the book I found in the parking lot, i.e. Naturum Demontu, Book of the Dead, and some vinyl records. Danny says he only listened to 2 records, and there was this incantation inside the other, after which all this happened. The third one is yet to be heard, but the light was not on and the record player also broke down. But Beth knew how to fix it because music was her passion, she used to do it all. She fixes the record and starts listening to the third vinyl record in headphones, so that no one else can hear it, and if there is any harm then only she. And everyone should get such a perfect auntie. At the same time, Bridget stands up and Ellie also starts coming inside the apartment through the duct. This entity was very smart. Beth now knows the full story. And friends, here the real cards of this movie and book open. Actually, this book was received by priest and father, and he wanted to translate them. And they were banished by the church for this blasphemy because it was a demonic book. And this book was made of human leather, and every single word inside was written with human blood. Inside it were written incantations to call the most terrible demon of hell, and there were many other methods. And this priest wanted to understand such things for the general public. But the father explains that this was the biggest mistake of his life and that the church was right. This demand is the taker of souls and cannot be eliminated. It can either be imprisoned or run away from it. And this was the reason that even the life of the father's own members was lost. And somehow they kept it under the protection of God by imprisoning it inside that secret vault, so that it could not come out. But Danny was tempted by the presence of this book. And the demon freed himself by getting himself read the incantation. Father had to say that even exorcism and prayer have no effect on him. Now with the blood of this demon, or the wound given by him, humans convert into deadites. Or it can be said that a part of the demon enters the person through those wounds, due to which they also become possessed. And a link remains inside demon and the rest of the deadite. Well, 2 things happen when you listen to a vinyl record. On one hand, Bridget stabs her own brother Danny inside the kitchen, and he burns her with fire so that she falls down. Then Ellie also comes to the same vinyl record room through duct, and Beth tries to fight her, but obviously fails. In fact, Ellie narrates the vinyl record through herself and mocks that this entity cannot be defeated. Now only Cassie and Beth are left. Danny now comes out wounded and killed. Cassie hides, but Ellie comes to kill Beth. And Demon realizes that she is pregnant, and he has 2 souls to take. He was very happy. But when Cassie realizes that her aunt is going to be a mother, so she gives them a scissor, which she inserts into Ellie's mouth, due to which Ellie stays the same for some time. Actually, this demon used to enjoy having fun, he used to torture the victim. The more the fear, the sweeter the souls will be for him. Well, Cassie and Beth now come down the hall, where Beth was about to break the exit with Mr. Fonda's gun. But then Ellie wakes up and the bullet hits Beth directly in Ellie's leg, which cuts off one of her legs, as well as his hand. Yet again Ellie talks sweetly to trap Cassie here, but this time Cassie does not listen to her, and says that you are not my mom. Now one by one all the victims start converting into deadites, and start saying that no one will survive till evening. After which, Cassie and Beth had no choice but to escape in the elevator. But the lift was not closing because the house key was lying there as well as the car key. Because when Ellie was possessed, she had these keys in her hand. Cassie plays smartly here and keeps the keys with her, which locks the lift. But we see that possessed Danny and Bridget join themselves inside Ellie's body, due to which blood starts increasing in the lift. That was the best scene. As the lift was going down, the blood was also increasing. And the Book of the Dead itself turns to a page, where there is a creature with many hands, feet, and mouth. And Ellie transforms into this creature. Now the lift somehow comes down, and starts opening due to overload, from which a lot of blood comes out, reminiscent of the movie The Shining. Means you can see how many small details have been taken care of. And that's why this movie is great. Well, now both of them wake up covered in blood and start running away with the car. But the car gets stuck inside a crack. And just then Ellie Demon was there. Also there was a lot of fog, which is a power of this demon. Well, this demon catches Cassie and is about to kill her with the help of a sword. But Beth saves her, and this sword is a reference to the franchise itself, the original movie. Well, now only then is Ellie Demon going to finish Beth in the grinding machine. But Cassie stops the machine and Beth points the sword at the demon, and tells Cassie to turn on the machine. So that Ellie, Danny, and Bridget end up with this demon. Means destroying your family with your own hands. Was very shocking. after which both of them leave from there. But the demon was not finished, and neither was the book. Only here his vessel ended, not this demon. And both of them should not have gone like this, but what to do? If they don't do this, then how will the future parts be made? Anyway, after creating so much havoc, we see the next day's scene, where a girl comes down from the lift. And it was none other than the Jessica shown at the beginning of the movie. Yes, and she was also living on the second floor of the same building. That is, the initial scene was of the present time. But how could he not have heard someone's voice? Maybe because of the demon's power, it must have been isolated. Well, now she comes to the parking lot and asks to pick up Teresa in 15 minutes. And then Jessica notices that there is only blood. And she was about to call the police out of fear. But then the taker of soul demon possesses Jessica. Because there only the possessed body was destroyed, not the demon, who was still roaming free in search of his new weasel, who turns out to be Jessica. Now you must have understood the starting scene why Jessica was doing all this. And that was the beginning of Evil Dead Rise. And boom. With this the movie ends here. So guys, this was the story of Evil Dead Rise movie. And Rise because this entity woke up again after a long time. And Natrum Demontu doesn't have one part, it has three. That is, according to this movie, at least it is like this. So it also makes sense that how were the books at different places? And the priest's voice inside the movie is to show the reference of the real as William Deadites, and it was all references. Attacking with a sword and getting addicted to blood. It's all very good and is a reference to the original. There are full of scary scenes inside the movie. So story-wise nothing new will be found, but the scenes are very well executed. Definitely one of the best horror of this year. And don't watch it story-wise, just watch it with horror. Although I will try to cover all the Evil Dead movies and give you a timeline. How was this book going to different places at different times? Because it's a work in progress. Above all, this book is fun in itself. Something like this also exists in real. If you want, I can cover that book too, do tell in the comment. I personally loved the movie and the theater response was great too. In the end everyone became completely silent, as if a snake had smelled it. In fact, don't think about the post-credit scene, it is not there, so the credits come and go. But if you want to know the star cast and who has done what, how? If you want to see, then definitely stop by. Because these people also deserve credit. But it is a must-watch movie. So I hope you liked the explanation of Evil Dead Rise movie. If you liked the video, then please subscribe if you are new to the channel. So I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay ghostly.